What's going on, everybody? It is Frankie here, and welcome to the 2023 NFL Week 2 predictions. We're going to break down every game coming up here in Week 2, except for Raiders, Bills, and Jets, Cowboys, because we want to wait for the Bills and Jets to play tonight to break down those games in full. But hope you all enjoyed Week 1. It was a very exciting week. My big takeaway is that there's no good teams in the NFL, except maybe the 49ers, but a lot can happen. We have a lot of time in between now and the Super Bowl. So let's break down Week 2 here in the NFL. Let's see what happens this week. We start with the Thursday night game, the Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are 7.5-point favorites. I expected that Minnesota was going to come crashing back down to earth. We saw that last year in the wildcard game against the Giants. And we saw it here again today, or yesterday, losing to Tampa Bay. Close one. They used to win all these close games last year, not here in Week 1. Really struggled in that game. At least you had a nice performance from Justin Jefferson, but still losing to Tampa Bay, losing to Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay, a rough one there. They were not able to get it done. Philadelphia really confused me here in this game. I expected them to be much better than they were against New England, and they started off with a 16-0 lead. New England gave them plenty of ammunition, and then after that, New England just came roaring back into the game. The Eagles' offense was not what it normally was. There was one point where it had, I think, four consecutive 3-and-outs. That's crazy. Jalen Hurts had a terrible fumble, which reminded you of the Super Bowl. It was just not the same Eagles offense that we've come to expect. They were very, they weren't clicking. They were not as dynamic as we expect them to be. Their offensive line really struggled in this game, but they got the win. That's what's important. And I think they'll get the win here. Whatever problems they've had here in Week 1, they will start to figure out in Week 2. I don't expect Jalen Hurts and company to struggle again like this here in the second game. I expect an Eagles win. I expect a win by at least 10 points on Thursday night. Give me the Eagles -7.5. The Green Bay Packers and the Atlanta Falcons. The Packers are a point favorite. Hey, doesn't matter if it's Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love. The Packers are going to own the Bears. And we saw that here again yesterday with a dominating performance out of Green Bay. I almost wanted to tweet like Aaron who. I'm sure there were some people ready to joke about that, but Love looked great. Matt LaFleur did a great job designing some great plays for him. The defense, a lot of the rookies on that team really stepped up. They had a pick six from Quay Walker in the game. The offense just looked really dynamic. Aaron Jones had a really good game. So very exciting game there. And this is a big opportunity for Green Bay to see if they could continue to be successful without Aaron Rodgers. And for 1 week, they proved they can do that. Atlanta, on the other hand, they also won today. Their pass protection is not really that great in this game. Desmond Ridder only threw for 118 yards. Not the kind of performance that you need going forward if you want to compete here in the NFL, but it is the NFC South, so anything can go in that division. But I am taking Atlanta to win this game, and the reason why I think these two teams are very, very close in terms of talent, and I just think Atlanta's gonna be at home. I think they'll have the advantage there, and I also think this could be a letdown game. People are ready to think, okay, Jordan Love, he could be the next big thing, and I could see this being a letdown game for Green Bay. Not saying that Jordan Love's gonna be awful by any means. I could just see this being a big letdown game here in Week 2, and I think Atlanta pulls off the win at home. They pull off the upset. Give me the Falcons +1. The Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 3-point favorites. The Ravens with a win over the Texans, but at what cost? Losing J.K. Dobbins for the year. That's rough. Not the best game we've seen from Lamar. That was the first time he has had multiple turnovers in a game since Week 6 of 2022. He looked like a guy that hadn't played for a while. He was getting pressure throughout the game. Just not the Lamar that not the Lamar worthy of his contract, but I'm sure he'll be able to. As long as the man's healthy, I'm sure they'll be able to bounce back. But it was not a great win for the Ravens, especially losing J.K. Dobbins. But I do think they'll be fine in this game against Cincinnati. I'm actually taking them to beat Cincinnati. I was really concerned about the Bengals. I had the Bengals as my AFC pick, and boy, that was a letdown. 3 points. Joe Burrow with 82 yards, and yes, I know he's still recovering from his right calf. I know it was wet. But that looked like a team that hadn't practiced all year. Like the way they were playing in this game, they just looked completely out of it from minute 1. And their run defense also was their offense is going to get a lot of the criticism, and rightfully so. But their run defense really struggled in this game. They let Nick Chubb and Watson run all over them, 206 yards on the ground for the Browns. So I think the Bengals are in. I think the Bengals will be fine. They might even win this game. It might be a 1-point win. But I think this is a game where I can see the Ravens coming in, division game, division rivalry, coming in and upsetting the Bengals, surprising them. I can see Lamar. I think Lamar's going to be fine as long as the man's healthy. I think he's going to show up in this game. I have the Ravens covering the 3 points. It'll be a close game. It'll be a fun game, but the Ravens cover. Give me the Ravens +3. The Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 5.5-point favorites. Awful performance from the Seahawks yesterday. One of their worst losses in a long time. I mean, coming up against a Rams team, a rebuilding Rams team that's 5-point underdogs, and they just come in, and without Cooper Kupp, and they come in and smoke you. That was a real disappointment there for Seattle. But I think it's going to get worse here because Geno had a bad game, and I didn't want to crap on Geno because I think he had a great story last year, but I was not ready to be sold on him. And I think we saw that here in this game. He really struggled. But they struggled on both sides of the ball. The Seahawks gave up 426 yards on defense. So not a great performance there for Seattle. I think the Lions are going to win this one here. I'm a believer in the Lions. They looked fantastic. Jared Goff, it's been forever since he's thrown an interception. What is that, 359? He's 43 behind the record for Aaron Rodgers. He's looked good. Aiden Hutchinson had a great performance against Kansas City. I love Dan Campbell, very gutsy. I love the fourth down, going for it with the fake punt. That was a great win to come into Kansas City on opening night and defeat the Chiefs like that. Showed me a lot about this team. I think the Lions are going to be a formidable opponent all year long. I think that continues here. I think they win this one by at least 10 over the Seahawks. They're dynamic and everything. We'll give them the win. Give me the Lions -5.5. The Los Angeles Chargers and the Tennessee Titans. The Chargers are 3-point favorites. And I think in this one, first of all, that was the game of the week. The game of the day yesterday was Chargers-Dolphins. What a fantastic football game that was. And we expected that between Tua and Herbert, two of the best dynamic quarterbacks in the league. Great performance for the Chargers. Unfortunately, it was not enough to stop Tua and Tyreek Hill. By the way, you couldn't have double-teamed Tyreek Hill. Would it have killed you? You know Tua's going to throw to him. Would it have killed you just once? Try to double-team him? Anyway, Chargers were not able to stop him at all. The running game for the Chargers looked terrific. First NFL team to run for more than 220 yards and 3 touchdowns in a season opener since 2010. So credit to them on the Chargers front. I think they'll win this one here. Tennessee, it's going to be, it's a new year for Tennessee. We'll see what happens here with, I think there's a big possibility that by the end of this year, they're going to go to Malik Willis. The Tannehill experiment, it just seems like it's starting to run its course. Tennessee is just going to have one of those years for me. I think the Chargers win this one convincingly. This was a bad loss for the Chargers on the defensive front yesterday, but that will not happen in this game. Ryan Tannehill is not Tua Tagovailoa. Give me the Titans don't have any receivers that are as good as Tyreek Hill. Give me the Chargers -3 over Tennessee. The Chicago Bears and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are 3-point favorites. Awful performance for Chicago. This was your chance to finally prove, all right, Aaron Rodgers is gone. We can beat them. And they just sucked. The fans were booing the Bears at the start of the third quarter. Bad day for Justin Fields. Just nothing going on the offensive side. They go up against a Tampa team that doesn't look... I know Tampa won yesterday, but I mean, I'm not expecting that much out of Baker. I don't think this team is very good. This is going to be one of those, it's not the most unwatchable game on the schedule that's coming up, but this is not a game that I'm really looking forward to between two teams that are struggling. I have the Bears covering in this one. I think the Bears surprised. I think Justin Fields will show up in this game. Bears cover. Give me the Bears +3, but I'm not looking forward to this game. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites. Shocking loss for Kansas City, and maybe we should have expected it without Travis Kelce. But even without Kelce, they probably should have won that game, but they didn't. Kadarius Toney was awful. Really showed they should have paid Kelce. They should have repaid Kelce after that game because it's like, all right, without Kelce, you have guys that just can't catch the ball. Kadarius Toney, my gosh, that may have been the worst game I've ever seen from a wide receiver in the NFL. Just horrendous play, dropping so many balls, just awful. God, awful. But they're the Chiefs. They are Mahomes. They're Kansas City. I don't know. I don't think Kelce will be back, but I'd imagine they're going to be better here in this game. And Jacksonville, they're a good team, but they are not the Chiefs, even though they're at home here in this game. Offensive line is going to be a problem for Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence got hit 6 times in this game yesterday. The ball security real struggle against Indianapolis. They did win against Indianapolis, so credit to them on that front, but they had 3 fumbles. Lawrence got hit 6 times. Not a great win against, not a pretty win against Indianapolis. It took all the way until late in the game to pull it off, but they did do it. I do think Jacksonville's going to have a good year, but Kansas City is just going to, I think Kansas City will bounce back on this one. I don't see Kansas City going 0-2. Not Kansas City. Give me the Chiefs minus 2.5. Give me Holmes to bounce back, step up, and win over the Jaguars. Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans. The Texans are a 1.5 favorite. This is the most unwatchable game of the day for me. I will try it all not to watch this. Anthony Richardson, great. Good for you. Glad you got your first touchdown. Wish you all the best, but Colts aren't really going anywhere. It's a rebuilding year for them, and the Texans, forget about that. Give me the Colts plus 1.5. The San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams, the Niners, are 7-point favorites against the Rams. The Niners, to me, looked far and away like the best team, even more than the Cowboys. They looked far and away like the best team in the NFL this week. A incredible all-around performance. Brock Purdy picking up right where he left off. And this is different for the Niners. The Niners, the last 2 seasons, have had slow starts. 2-4 and 3-4 in the last 2 years. This one, right out of the gate, against a decent to average Pittsburgh team, and just mopped the floor with them, 30-7, winning that game on the road. Everything about San Francisco. We talked about how they are the most complete team in the NFL. We just don't know if they have the quarterback to do it. And I still don't know if they have a great quarterback in Brock Purdy, but I know it's ridiculous to be like, how could you say he's not great? It's just, he was Mr. Irrelevant for a reason. But you know what? Whatever it is, whether it's the system or whether it's him, they're showing off, and he's played well. So I have to give him credit on that. 30 points, just running roughshod over the Steelers in that game. I expect a win here. Good win for the Rams. That was a nice win without Cooper Kupp to pull that off, upset Seattle like that. But I saw all these people on Twitter say like, oh, this is a fresh start for the Rams, and last season is just washed away. I'm like, really? And I know that Puka, the rookie wide receiver, 10 catches for 119 yards. He was fun. I'm sure he'll be a big fantasy waiver guy tomorrow or today. But I don't. Are we really? Do we think the Rams have all of a sudden turned it around? Like now that I know Stafford's probably healthy right now, that he's much more healthy than he's been last year. But do we really expect that everything's going to turn around for the Rams like that? I don't know. I got to see more from the Rams. But I do think in this game the Niners run. I think they'll run roughshod. I think they will defeat the Rams on the road. I think the Niners will come through and deliver and dominate. Give me the Niners minus 7. The New York Giants and the Arizona Cardinals. The Giants are 4.5 favorites. Okay, I got to say for a second. I got to talk about this for a minute. When will the Giants ever have a good offensive line? Will that ever happen? In my lifetime, can I see the Giants have a good offensive line? Would it kill the New York Giants to figure this out? It has been 15 years since the Giants, I feel like, have had a great offensive line. And it happened here again today. Even the year they won the Super Bowl, 2011, they had a bad offensive line. This team can never, ever, ever have a good offensive line. And it happened here again today. They were destroyed by the Cowboys. And yes, it's Micah Parsons, but they were destroyed by that Cowboys offensive line, or the Cowboys defensive line. This was one of the most pathetic games I've ever seen from the Giants, and I thought we were behind this. I thought, all right, the Ben McAdoo, Shermer, Joe Judge era of getting blown out, that's not going to happen anymore. And it happened here to to Brian Daboll, to someone I love and adore. I think the man, I think highly of the man. I think he's a great leader. But boy, this was an awful game, and I don't understand why Daniel Jones was out there when it's 40-0. I don't understand that at all. They looked worse than anybody. And I don't think the Giants are the worst team in the league, but nobody, even the Cardinals, did not look as bad this week as the Giants did. This was a horrendous game for the Giants. Nothing went right. One of the most pathetic games I've ever seen from the Giants. I can't believe we're paying Daniel Jones $160 million. This was bad. The blocked kick, Jones's 2 picks, the pick six, although that wasn't his fault. Saquon, caught it and then fumbled it right away into the hands of the Cowboys guy. Awful game. And I think the Giants will win this game because I think the Cardinals are the worst team in the league. But God, I had so many fears about the Giants heading into this game, heading into this season. And all of those fears showed up and then some in this game. All of them. And now it just makes me think the Giants it makes me think that last year was a mirage, last year was a fluke, and the Giants are going to be back to their normal Giant self here this year. I hope that doesn't happen, but I fear for my life. I fear that is going to happen. I really think that the Giants are going to suck for the rest of the way, and they're just going to struggle. But we'll see. And they have a very tough schedule. This is not a tough game, but they have a very tough schedule going forward. So I'm really concerned about this team. I think they'll win this game, but God, what an awful performance against Dallas. That was embarrassing. One of the worst games I've ever seen from the Giants, and that's saying something. The Washington Commanders and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are 3.5-point favorites. I don't want to rain on the Commanders fans parade. Yesterday looked like a lot of fun. That win The Dan Snyder era is over. Getting that win with the new quarterback, that must have been. I felt so good for Commanders fans. It's a new the dark era is behind you. New era, winning game one, great win. Howell was blah, got sacked 6 times, 202 yards passing, but whatever. We'll see how he is going forward. The offense does need to improve if they want to step it up here, but good win for Washington. Denver, I mean, new year, same crap. Just another year where they're struggling on offense. I didn't hate the Sean Payton onside kick at the beginning of the game. I appreciated it, but it obviously cost them. The Raiders scored right after that. Just not a great game for that sense. Denver just struggling again with the offense. The kicker Will Lutz just missing 2 kicks. It just felt like last year all over again for Denver. It didn't feel like Sean Payton. I think the Broncos will be better this year. I think they're more talented this year, and I think they have a better coach. But I still think this team is not where they need to be, and I think Russell Wilson is on the back half of it's obviously he's on the back half of his career, and he's slowly. I think it's gonna be a rough ending for Wilson here unless he can figure out something. With all that said, I think the Broncos win this game. Somebody's got to win it. Another game that I'm not really looking forward to, but the Broncos are at home, 3.5. I expect something here from Russ. Not the whole season, but I expect something here from him in this game. Give me the Broncos -3.5 to beat the Washington Commanders. The Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. The Dolphins are 2-point favorites. Fantastic win for Miami against the Chargers. Tyreek Hill, insane. I thought he was the best player on the field throughout the entire NFL yesterday. He and Tua are magic together. Tua had 466 yards with 3 touchdowns and was 8 on 14 of throws of at least 15 air yards with 5 going to Hill. And Tyreek Hill, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Incredible. The run defense today, that was something that was the most the Dolphins have given up since the Bears ran for 252 yards in 2022. So it was not a great day on that front, and that's something that they're gonna have to figure out here. Was that just an anomaly or something that they're gonna have to worry about? And especially we have the Patriots, who are a run heavy team, coming up here next week. You better hope that that's not the same thing. If the Patriots can run just like they did against the Chargers, if the Patriots can be just as effective as the Chargers were, then I might feel differently. But I think that, and New England, bad loss. You're not going to win when you start off. You usually don't. When you start off 16-0, when you're down 16-0, so many terrible mistakes. Very sloppy for a Patriots team, and that's so unlike Bill Belichick. So that was surprising to see them just down 16 points right there. The pick 6, the fumbles, Zeke with the fumble there. The defense looked good, but especially in the second half, but was enough to get the win for here in New England. I think the Dolphins win this one. I think Tyreek will have another great game. Mac Jones, I'm still not sold on. He was better in the second half, but I'm not a Mac Jones believer here. Dolphins, I think, will win this one. I think they win this one by 7. They got the win on the road. It'll be a fun game. Dolphins Patriots, I feel like, is always a fun matchup. But I think in this one, Dolphins get it. Give me the Miami -2. The New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers. The Saints are 3-point favorites. New Orleans with a win. This was not a great offensive showing for New Orleans, especially with all these new weapons. When you have Derek Carr coming out of, getting Derek Carr in free agency, adding some guys to the receiver core. But just still 16 points, but not an awesome one. The Saints defense, though, really solid in that they were able to shut down Derrick Henry like that. That is something you can at least be proud of. And that is, if there's anything that you can take away, is that the Saints defense is one of the best in the league, and they're going to continue to be fantastic. And if anything, if there's a reason why people believe if the Saints are going to win this division, is that defense. You can have questions about the offense. The defense is top tier. The defense is legit. And shutting down Derrick Henry like that, that's no small feat. I think they'll win this one. Carolina, Bryce Young, it's his first year. He's still going through some stuff. I'm sure he'll be fine by the end of it. Funniest moment of the game when other than Geno Smith screaming "Oh my God" when Aaron Donald was coming at him, was Young throwing his first touchdown. I forgot who got it, and he immediately threw it into the stands. It's like, dude, that's Bryce Young's first touchdown. Don't throw it into the stands. Please don't. Somebody's got to retrieve that. Saints win this one here. I think they'll win this one by at least 10. Be a fun matchup, but I think New Orleans gets it done. Give me the Saints -3. And finally, the Cleveland Browns against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Browns are a point favorite. Jim Schwartz, man, what a fantastic job he did in his first game with the Browns, shutting down the Bengals like that, shutting Joe Burrow down to 82 yards. They pressured him all game. They were in his face on almost every drop back. Secondary stepped up. If you have a question about this team, it's the passing attack. Deshaun Watson still not where he was back in his peak Houston era. So that is something to be concerned about. But again, on the defensive front, how can you not sit there and be incredibly impressed at what they were able to do? That was a fantastic shutdown of the Steelers there. So I think that's something to look forward to and to be happy about for the Browns. If Schwartz can have, the man's a wizard. If Schwartz can keep that up for the whole year, Browns are going to be something. And then the Steelers, awful. I mean, they were great in the preseason. My friend who's a Steelers fan was very excited about how they looked in the preseason. He thought something special was going to be, that this team was going to show up. Kenny Pickett was going to be, and then just nope. Pickett looked bad. Had terrible time with his accuracy. I don't know why they were not able to replicate. I guess it is the preseason, but I thought they would look better than this. They looked completely flat. I know they're going up against a great Niners team, but they looked completely flat all game. I got the Browns in this one. Do think they're a better team here. It's, again, divisional matchup. Sometimes these are hard to predict. A lot of divisional matchups here I'm looking here at week 2, but I think the defense is going to really, if Pickett had problems throwing here in week 1, he's definitely going to have problems in week 2. The Browns are going to be all over him. I think the Browns win this one. It'll be a fun game, but Cleveland gets the win. Give me the Browns -1. That's it for now, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to this channel and you like to see, make sure you subscribe down below. I'll be back tomorrow breaking down Raiders, Bills, and Jets, Cowboys, and I'll also have some more NFL videos on Monday night. Take care and God bless.